Welcome to the Sanctum, everybody. This is Ale, and today we're going to talk about shadow work. Okay, this is not going to be a super long video. We're going to get started with just basic shadow work. I'm using the Spirit Keepers Tarot by Annabelle Wen, whom I absolutely love and adore. If you haven't ever seen any of her work, BannabelleWen.com is her website. She has some awesome free courses. She has some awesome stuff. In fact, she's taking pre-orders for her new Spirit Keepers deck coming out, and she has an I Ching series that is magnificent. And we're going to talk about that eventually in a little bit too. But first, let's talk about shadow work and what it is, what it does, and what it's for. So shadow work is all about you. It's about your growth, your process, accessing your darker side. Come to the dark side. We have cookies. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to make fun of it, but there's so many jokes and stuff out there. But a lot of people have this idea that the dark side is to be banished. Your shadow side is a bad thing to have. Without the dark, there is no light. Without the light, there is no shadows. There's no shade, and some plants need shade to grow. Thing of it is that you can't be light all the time. Sometimes there has to be a dark. There has to be a part of you that is not this happy-go-lucky, whatever part of you. The problem is that sometimes people's shadow side is the only side that they bring about. They have this unequal balance. You should have a balance between your light and your dark side. Is it equal? Yeah, no. Sometimes it is, sometimes not. Most people are more towards the light side than they are the dark side, so it's more like a 60-40 thing, which seems to be par for the norm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of spreads and how to work with the cards in general, some of the deeper aspects of shadow working, things that I've done, and they may or may not work for you as well. The reason why I want to do it with the Spirit Keepers deck is because since it is a spirit based work we're doing with, this deck is actually it's deeper in a lot of ways to work with, to make you think more. So we're going to deal more with that. So that's the reason why. Now, when I do my shadow work, and I do a lot of shadow work at least a couple times a year, sometimes more, depends on how crappy I start feeling about myself. I usually start with 3 lines. And the reason why I do 3 is I usually have the light, the dark, and the gray. I usually, if you ask me anything, I will tell you that I walk the neutral path, the path between the dark and the light, the shadow path. The reason why is because not all paths are either or. They're just not. So people are just gonna have to deal with it. And so I want to go over the hows and the whys. Nobody's all dark, nobody's all light. Although maybe murderous psychopaths, they're probably like 99% dark. But yeah, they're far and few between. Sociopaths make up 4% of our country, but they are not all bad. So there you go. So let's talk about what this is. Now, the reason why I have this specifically set up in this way is we're looking at my light side, my dark side, my middle, where I should be, my middle ground, the areas I'm having trouble with, where I need to be. And these are two aspects of where I need to focus. Okay? So that's why we're doing it in such a manner. Alright. I love it when I get cards that I really like. Really? Seriously? You're gonna be like this to me? I hate you all. Okay. On the plus side, they're all right side up. Yay! Okay, so now that I've yayed, Lord have mercy. We're gonna talk about these. Oh Lord. Okay. Really? Seriously? Yeah. Well, that's been about the way it's been lately. And oh, well, yeah, I have been. And yeah. So, my peoples, how do I love thee with you? Oh my God, we're going to have so much fun with this. No, we're not. We are not going to have fun at all with any of this. So let's talk about what is, what was, and what we're going to do, because there are things in here that we have to deal with, because I don't like any of it right now. No, it's not true. It's not, but it's telling me a lot more crap than I yeah, I gotta wait. Yeah, really? Come on. Alright, so let's talk. Six of Chalices. This is what my light side is bringing to me, which is telling me basically at this point it's all about nostalgia, the idea of innocence, the idea of reunions, gifts. Basically, we're looking at the idea of happiness, happy times. Look at the little baby dragon. Look at him. He's so adorable. The gray part is the Seven of Scepters. Now, as you can tell here, that there is looks like they're being blocked. So, one of the things about the Seven of Scepters is it's all about self-defense. It's all about protection against competition. It's all about being on a protective stance, not an offensive or defensive stance. And I mean defensive as in like a defensive going to kick ass stance. Then you have the Angel of Storms and Battles. So the Angels of Storms and Battles here is actually an important prospect, because we're also going to have to deal with the Archangel Commander. We're also going to have to deal with Archangel Healing, which there's 3 archangels, and I'm just screwed to no end. Because those are all, by the way, just all the archangels are kings, so you know. I'm just like, part of me, to be honest with you, is just, have you ever had a moment where you said to yourself, I really don't want to be this way. I don't want this, no. I'm in this moment. So that's where I'm at. So he is the King of Swords. He's basically about thought. He is the strategic commander. He's the one where we're looking at intentionality. So occasionally my intentions have not been as pure as I really need them to be, or I have been a lot more frustrated in my intentions. And because of that, I have been a little bit more pissy than I should be. And I'm not going to lie, it is true. So then we get to the Conservator, which is the Four of Orbs. Also known as the Four of Pentacles. Now, for the Four of Orbs, the big thing about the Four is it's all about long-term security, greed or desire for some people. See, so the big thing is because it is between my good and my light and my middle, my shadow. We're talking about that it is one of the biggest blocks I have is security. And a lot of people, and in fact most people have this is a huge block. It's all about financial security, and so they think that unless they have money that they're not secure. And it's a fallacy. It is probably the biggest fallacy known to mankind. I've worked through a lot of it, but every once in a while, man, it comes up and bites me on the ass hard. So that's something that we really need to talk about. It's something shadow work wise I know I have to deal with. Yeah. And I can tell you that for a fact because I just picked out the thing. Because the Four of Swords, rest and recovery, is telling me that I really need to put that to rest. I really need to sit there and put that back where it needs to be. The one that is my big block between putting my dark side in order to my middle portion, which is like the balanced portion, is the Ivory Shield, which is a queen. For this is the Queen of Pentacles. So we're looking in regards to her is that, you know, of course she's about fertility, abundance, resourcefulness. I don't always feel that way. I'm not being the person of fertility and abundance. I'm not being as resourceful as I should be. No shit. And with the Seven of Orbs, it is, oh yeah, it's about having the patience, knowing that success is going to be delayed a bit, being patient while waiting. And I will be the first person to tell you waiting is a pain in my ass and I don't like it. But I also will tell you that I am used to having to wait to a point. So it is a thing that I know I have to do. So by working on these two aspects, bring me to Judgment, the Apocalypse. It's about a wake-up call to your purpose. It is your clarity moment. It is, dumbass, wake up, see the light, get yourself back on track. You're starting to fumble here. You're going from happiness and innocence and having this thing and being protective to being more overly strategic, where you're feeling like you have to be on call, on action, on this overly ready for battle person, and you don't have to be that person. That's what this is saying for me, and this is what it's telling me. If you don't do this, you're going to get this way, and you need to get off of it hard. Wake up. You have purpose in your life. You know what your purposes are. You know what you need to do. So stop fucking around and get off your ass. So it's saying, get your ass to work, sunshine. You gotta stop screwing around. And two of the other clarifiers in regards to this is both archangels. The Archangel of Mysteries, which is Pentacles, and the Archangel of Chalices, which is the angel who salves and purifies. So, and then you have, of course, the elimination of shadows. So we're looking at there simply regarding both of them, and the fact that I got both. I never get both. I mean, like, no, never. We're looking at it's learning to be more tolerant to myself and others. I already have, I already am an empath, but it's having empathy, which is a totally different ballgame. It's having a sympathetic ear. It's having empathy towards others, even those people who don't really deserve it. Yeah, I gotta work on that. And it's also being practical and wise investor. It's being wise within yourself. It's being practical versus impractical. And I will admit to you that I have impractical moments like nobody's yaya. And the Golden Shield. The Golden Shield is I like her. I like her a lot. I do. She's so pretty. So with the Golden Shield, we're talking more along the lines. She is probably one of my favorite queens. She is actually the Queen of Scepters, the Queen of Wands. So we're talking regarding her. She's about being confident, self-assured, occasionally being a little bit feisty. She's telling me not to lose that part of myself, not losing my self-confidence, which is something I have been losing. I am the type of person, especially when I'm working on certain projects, I get partially through it and then I get nervous and scared, and then I start doubting myself a lot, which tends to make me start stopping my project because I don't feel like I'm good enough. And I can tell you exactly what the shadow work is all about, but I can't, because then I'd have to kill all of you. I will tell you that it does have to deal with tarot, but that's all I can tell you. It is important for me to get back on track, because it's telling me that once I get this done and I get finished, that things will go better, things will be easier, and it'll be where I need it to be, which is important at this point. I just have to be stronger and a little less flighty at times. My flighty at times is because the fact that I'm trying to balance a lot of stuff at once. So I'm trying to do my best. So it just means that I got to refocus, redo a little bit better. So basically, again, if you decide to work with this program, with this particular shadow deck idea, and you can do this with any tarot deck, and I'm going to actually show you in a minute how you can do a similar one with an oracle deck. Is your light side, the middle ground or shadow, and then the dark side. What are the obstacles? What is your outcome? And basically these two things are things that can help, or where you really want to be at, what your aspects are. And that's it. And these two things you can actually are optional. You don't have to have them. The biggest thing is the upside down pyramid, for lack of a better term. And then you can use clarifiers along the way if you need them. But I find, for me, honestly, if I do this regularly, every couple of weeks, as a check-in, or at least once a month, I find that it's more of a blessing for that purpose, because of the fact that I'm not feeling so idiotic about myself now. And you can choose to read reverse or not reverse, how you see fit. I do read reversals. I know some people don't. When it comes to shadow work, it will tell you straight out what you need to do. If you do read no reversals, take whatever they're saying to the extreme when you get to the dark aspects and to the light aspects. So are you being, as good as you can be? Are you being, and this is what is the worst it can be. That is the idea there. So if they're saying, hey, you're being too strategic, if you're being strategic, so you're basically trying to control everything, you're trying to plot everything to the very last minutia kind of an aspect, if you don't take reversals, that gives you an idea of how to really look into the way you are. Now let's say you're using an oracle card deck or like a Lenormand deck. Yeah, let's do a Lenormand one. I haven't done those for a while. Lenormand is going to be a little bit slightly different from a regular oracle deck. So we can do one of each, I guess. A Lenormand, I would probably set out, it's similar, but I would set it out probably as a 6. You could set it out as a 9. Because remember, in Lenormand we have things that double and triple, depending on how you want to do it. Now I'll be honest with you, I love the Lenormand readings. Oh, dude, you just do not like to sit on my thing whatsoever. I'm gonna put you away. I'm not joking. I will put your butt away. I don't like you anymore. You keep falling. It's like you don't want to be there. So to you. So what I usually do is I usually sit there and say light, shadow, dark, and which is one way you can do it with the Lenormand. The other thing that I do with Lenormand is I just read the reading like it is, and take it as my shadows are going to show, my light is going to show, and then so is my mediums. So what I will do, this is going to be freaking fantastic. I see. Really? No freaking. Yeah, no. Okay. So we have the Labyrinth, which is a new card. That's ever so freaking wonderful. I mean, it's not a bad card in the sense of it's having to start over, basically. It's all about starting over, and it just means that the bridges is all about connection. Yeah. Now when it comes to Lenormand, I mean, upside down is upside down. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything has to be upside down per se. It's really, you're trying to hurt me big time today, I'm telling you. It's, yeah, alright. We're just trying so hard just to take me on out today, I'm telling you. So we're gonna crunch these up, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm looking at these cards, I'm having a massive moment here. Yeah, I know, the letter, and then the heart and the flowers and romance, and yeah, okay. So Jesus. This is freaking ridiculous today. Alrighty. So, no matter where I'm going to go in this, I'm stuck with the Labyrinth, okay? So first off, this card right here is all about starting over. No matter what, I'm being told that I'm hitting brick walls, and the reason why I'm hitting brick walls is because I'm basically screwed right now, because I'm not looking at things like I should be. Now, the bridge thing is telling me that there are ways to start anew and bridge over the problems and find ways to make things work. This is about best friends, being close with friends. So if I'm having issues with friends, there are ways to bridge past it. However, we have things that are crapped. This is something about somebody devious and purposeful, actionable, that is causing issues. Okay, so this is a self reading, so you have to look at this in a self manner, and this of course is about stuff being taken away. So the reason why I'm turning this all towards y'all so you can actually see this. So, blessed be. Seriously? Oh my god, I can't. This is why I usually don't do two of these at one time when it comes to shadow working, because I swear to god I get more pissy as time goes on. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So what it's telling me is that, and I'm going to read it in various ways for you. So basically it's going to show you hows and the whys. So, and I apologize the fact that I'm cracking up without telling you what's going on. It's just that as I'm looking at all this, it's just like my brain is going, are you freaking especially after I just did the other one. So once I start telling you this and you start thinking about the other one, you'll get why I'm here about this. So remember, the Labyrinth is about starting over. You're hitting brick walls. Sound familiar at all? So it's also telling me that right now I'm feeling like that things are being taken away from me, that I'm not finding my way through things the way I'm supposed to, because I'm feeling like little by little things are just eroding. Even my home sanctuary doesn't feel like it's as safe as it could be, because I'm hitting brick walls. And I have bridges to places, but I feel like I'm being betrayed. And the only thing that I have that I have the best of are my friends, but something's nibbling away at my friendships. So I'm not feeling as close to my friends as I should be. And there's a chance at love and romance. But I'm having trouble again because I'm hitting brick walls, because I feel like it's being taken away. My writing, having trouble with because I'm hitting brick walls. I want out of this. I want out of this reading so bad. I want out of this reading so bad right now. Oh my god. Because I'm hitting brick walls, and there's a bridge to romance over the freaking walls I'm hitting. I just have to figure out why I'm hitting the wall in regards to the romance. So there are things happening. So like there is romance and writing and my home being safe and secure as well, in regards to it, even though there are some devious portions that are being dealt with. It's all the fact that this has to be dealt with. Once this is dealt with, the other stuff will start falling apart, in regards to feeling like crap is being taken away and the devious person in my life will go poof. But I have to deal with the brick wall in my life. Yeah, this has got to go. The whole, this, as beautiful as it is, as much as I like labyrinths in normal times, this is not a good sign in my shadow work. It's not. It's just not. So this is how you would do a Lenormand reading for shadow working. When you see these combinations, taking away your home, feel like your home is not secure, knowing that you can have a bridge to love if you can get past your brick wall of yourself. Duh. Yeah, I know. Plus there's other people involved. Yes, I know. Feeling like your friends are being taken away. And there could be a way past it, but you gotta face that and get past this deceiver. Feeling like, your love is being eaten away at. This is another way of doing it. If you have Lenormand cards, they're really great for shadow reading. For others, for yourself. Biggest thing is how you decide to set it up, how you decide to want to read it. I do recommend a 3x3 reading if you're going to do it, because it's better at emphasizing those aspects. 4x3 is not as legible. You can even do a 2x4, because then you can just bounce up and down. But 3x3 is usually the best. So just so you're aware of that. And by the way, I cannot get enough of these cards. I am totally in love with this deck. Hoping that if I get the Vision Oracle deck, it's going to be about the same size, because damn nabbit I am in love with this goddamn deck. I am. Did I just drop my card? What? I got the dropsies today. And I don't know why. Ah. So, I don't know why I got the dropsies today. Or how come? Which is kind of weird, because I usually don't have dropsies worth crap. But yeah, go figure that one out. So, I am, needless to say, laughing like shit over those portions. So, let's do an oracle reading version. No. Yes, we're going to use the Woto deck. I was lucky enough to get into Oracle School that Colette Baron Reed did. She does one every year. And I have never in my life had so much fun learning from her and her team. They are magnificent. If you ever get a chance to do it, I would recommend it. One, because you get to learn a lot about oracles. You learn more about yourself. Learning to trust yourself and your intuition. Now, granted, I've been reading a long time, but I mean, I'll be honest with you, taking the course really kind of opened me up a lot to who and what I am, and I really needed that. My goal is eventually to go further, but I really truly am beyond pleased that I did that. So let's go and take a look at this. So when you work with an oracle decks can be a little bit different when you do readings. Some have light and dark readings, some have just light readings. If you work with a psychic tarot deck, which is a oracle deck itself, it's also a good choice to do. There's a few decks that I would recommend. The Good Tarot deck is a really good one. The Fairy Tale Oracle deck is definitely a shadow deck, and we'll talk about that one because it's all shadow. And I'll bring it out. So one thing I do is that I don't read oracles the same way that I do tarot when it comes to shadow work. Okay, so I have, yeah, that sounds a lot like me right now. And but that would work. Okay, so let's talk. Now, what I'm going to do, because some of you are probably not familiar with this deck, which, by the way, this deck is not that expensive to get right now, and I would highly recommend, out of a lot of the oracle decks that I use, this deck would be the deck that I would recommend for most people to use as their first oracle deck, because it can be used in so many manners and so many ways. This one, the Psychic Tarot, are like amazing. The Energy Oracle is really great. The Work Your Light Oracle deck is awesome. But if you want to really work on yourself and others, to help them in stuff, the Chakra Wisdom Oracle, oh my god, that deck is amazing. I cannot tell you enough about the Chakra Wisdom deck. Chakra Wisdom deck, when it comes to shadow work, is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. That would have to be its own separate video. So I'm going to read you some of the definitions on here, because I can tell you exactly what it is without even looking at this, but some of this I want to read to you, because when I read some of this to you, you're going to hear something that's going to resonate with you, and it's going to resonate on a level I can't give you. Okay, so we have fork in the road, which basically is time to make a decision, considering the consequences as you prepare to act, owning up to your own obligation to make a necessary choice. Every choice has a consequence. You've arrived at a fork in the road and are being asked to come to a decision. Will you further your dreams by choosing left or by choosing right? Will you take the road less traveled or the one well worn by others who have come before you? This is your choice and yours alone to make. The circumstances and other people will not make it for you. Be present and do not avoid this junction, for it is an important crossroads. Take heart, as no matter which path you choose, you will have a rich and meaningful experience. And as a prosperity message, it's telling you, and this prosperity message is something that I always include with the shadow talk, is you have come as far as you can on this part of your journey, and now you're faced with a choice. Inherent in this choice is the need for change, for evolution, and for a bettering of your circumstances. Narrow it down to just a single question. Who do I need to become, and what do I need to believe in order to live a life of prosperity? Answer honestly and from the heart. Then the decision about which way to go will be effortless. Know that abundance is all around you. Choose to see it, and it will be easier to settle on a direction, for the way will be made clear by your intuition, which knows how to steer you toward your well-being. Now remember, this is the light side, and it's telling you there's a choice ahead. Your choice is determined by which way you want to go, the one well-traveled, the one less traveled. Either choice can be blessed, but the choice is yours. Make sure you ask yourself, which way, what will make me be most abundant? What is going to be my higher need? That's going to be the way that you're wanting to go. Now, in regards to the fates, now, when I saw this card in the center card, I started laughing, because me and this card, we've met a few times. It says fate, karma, acceptance that there are things you cannot change, and knowing that what those things are. Yes. The Serenity Prayer sums up the meaning of this card. God grant me the serenity to accept the changes I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, and a place to know where to hide the bodies. Oh no, sorry, that's not part of it. There are things in life you will never have control over. The conditions brought on by the evolution of the collective, by nature, and by your past experiences may be fated, preordained by spirit for a greater purpose you cannot understand in this lifetime. It may not be in your cards to understand why certain events occurred, but you can accept the mystery and work with what those events and those current circumstances have to teach you. This is the wisdom contained in the Serenity Prayer. The relationship message in this, and I'm going to read this portion and the prosperity portion, because the relationship portion of this is probably going to hit most people, because I think this has to do with most people. Other people are who they are. You cannot change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and not try to make them otherwise to suit you. This is a time to look at how you attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be, so you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if who they are and whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the view of the perspective of spirit? Now is time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct that of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it. Prosperity says, your experiences concerning prosperity and abundance are beyond your control right now. You are being invited to accept what is unreservedly. This can be a temporary situation seemingly thrust upon you by outside forces, but there is an underlying purpose you can't see that has been determined by the fates. It could be a situation you are unprepared for, and you may not understand how it will benefit you in the moment. Do not fight the situation. Write it out and see where it leads. Surrender to it, and the serenity you need to make good choices from here on out will be given to you. You will indeed flourish. And just so you know, I have like a massive hard time with this, even though I work with the fates and I work with the Norns on a regular basis. And with my heritage, that's a big, huge thing. Me and them, yeah. I see this card way too many times in my life. So Treasure Island. It's about the law of attraction, bringing dreams into fruition. The results of positive thinking may manifest, abundance appearing as if from nowhere, financial gains, and the sharing of good fortune. You've worked hard and acted upon your unwavering belief in abundance, and suddenly in the midst of it all, you've hit the jackpot. You have uncovered the map to buried treasure and tap the unlimited potential within you. What you must hone now is your ability to recognize when X marks the spot, because some of these golden opportunities may be obvious and others may not be readily apparent. Trust your intuition to light your way now as you enter this this truly prosperous phase where all long work, hard navigating your inner life is now paying off externally. In all aspects of your life at this time, you have good fortune. Don't forget to enjoy it and share it with others, as treasure shared multiplies like magic. The big thing about this in your dark area is the fact that we have a tendency to see where X marks the spot, but not recognize when X marks the spot. We may see it in the distance. There it is. But when it's right in front of us, we don't dig where it is. We look further ahead. And it's that prospect that of, oh, X marks the spot and I can be prosperous right here. We're looking for bigger and better elsewhere. So that's where it is in the dark side, is the fact that we want the bigger and better treasure. We're not happy for what it is. And we forget to share because we think that there's never enough, that it's a zero-sum game. Well, people, it's not. Get real. Sharing is caring, and more importantly, the more you share, the more there is to give. There's enough to go around for everybody, so get with the program. Clean it up. This is one of my favorite cards. Anytime I get this card, I just smile. Well, one, because this is the cutest little freaking card in the world. But I actually love it. It says that getting to the core of a situation, freedom from a burden, cleaning house, sweeping away what is no longer needed. Ever feel so bogged down with emotional gunk that you can't think straight? Could you be surrounded by physical clutter in your home also? Too much work, overwhelmed, time to clean house. Every item out of place natters away at you. Every unresolved resentment, every comparison to others that leads to a sense of lack takes up energetic space. Every unpaid bill just adds up to an unnecessary feeling of being overwhelmed. Now is the time to free yourself by energetically cleaning house. Just do it. Make room for the miracles that are lining up for you. And it says that simple things like opening your mail, paying bills, sorting out your timetable, making lists, and getting organized is what this symbol means when it comes to your work. Make time for yourself too. This card is your sign that you may be overburdened and overwhelmed. It's okay to say no. You'll prosper even more if you do. We have a huge issue in this society of not saying no, and that we keep crap we don't need. We are a hoarding society. We also are a throwaway society. We throw away so much stuff that can be reused, recycled, and given away or given to others in need. And we don't do it because we feel that, well, they should be figuring out how to do for themselves, instead of thinking about that if I do well for others, then I will be blessed too. And we need to get out of that thought process of that, well, they need to do for themselves. Bullshit. We just do, because as a society, as a community, we need to work together. And soapbox. Building blocks in protection mode. So the essential meaning for building blocks is about strong foundation, a beautiful work in progress when the normal side. So in protection mode, it means now it is the time to address the cracks in the foundations of your life. Perhaps your values have changed and it is time to strengthen your convictions and let go of the things that no longer serve the vision you have for your life. Oh yeah, there are many of us out there that have new convictions or have realized that things have changed in our life, and we can't defend them because we don't know how to. We need to take the time to figure that out. There are things in our life that no longer serve our vision, and we keep them because we just have always had those other things because that's what we grew up with. Well, time to let those go and fly, sunshine. We don't need them anymore. Or perhaps you chose to ignore the signs of a situation or agreement that you have entered into that's not right for you. Remove the rotten pieces and reinforce your core moral strength and integrity. Now is the time for rigorous honesty, for you are called to renovate and upgrade your consciousness. You will be so happy when you do it. Spirit has a spectacular blueprint for your life, far beyond your imagination. Don't be afraid to replace what's not solid. We have a tendency to tell other people what they need to fix and not do it for ourselves. Like, no, seriously. Even though the things that we tell them to fix may be the same things what we need to fix. So we seriously need to start looking within and doing that. We need to start getting rid of the crap we don't need. We are so bad about that. Now, Yang, which I had put across, is basically if we can get past the obstacles, what is going to be the outcome? What will be the way that we can balance and harmonize everything? Yang is the masculine principle of movement and creative activity, the power to make things happen, taking action. Yang represents the power of action, the energies that propel the world forward in manifesting thought and desire into concrete form. Now is the perfect time to act, for you can easily build momentum and make headway. What you want will come to fruition if you proceed confidently. This card signifies new life and is a sure sign that obstacles have been overcome. There is no reason to hesitate. You are the shaper of your destiny now. Projects, partnerships, and all matters relating to your business are out of the obstacle phase and are on the way to make it happen phase. Now is the time to stake your claim and get things done. While you can expect to be busier than usual, this card tells you that you have all the energy and vitality you need to accomplish your goals. Abundance is awaiting for you to claim it. So get off your ass, AL, and get working. So that's what it's like to do a oracle reading with for shadow work. It's similar. It's not that hard. It's a matter of just doing things. Now, if you work with a dark deck like the fairy tale deck, or there is a what is that? What is the name of that damn deck that I want to get? Is it the Dark Oracle? The Dark Knight Oracle, I think it is. There is a deck that I desperately want, and I will probably get it one day. It's a dark deck. Literally, it's dark. It's all about darkness. The aspect for it is the fact that it's dealing with the darkness within inside. It's dealing with our shadow selves. It's dealing with the aspects about ourselves we don't like the most. It's dealing with both our light and our dark, and figuring out that aspect. And I want that deck specifically for my shadowscaping, for dealing with shadow work, for that purpose. So we're going to do the fairy tale, and I'm going to do this as just a shorter version. And I like the fairy tale deck because it is darker in a lot of ways. So, and really, now this deck is by Lucy Cavendish, the artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. I adore both women to no end. Working with this deck is tough sometimes because there's good and bad in this deck. There's a lot of heartbreak in this deck. Oh wow. So and the interesting thing is that when you look at when you look at these stories, when you look at the pictures, if you know any of these stories, and most of these I actually know, some of them, it's been a while. And reading the stories are actually a good reminder of our own selves, our shadow selves, like the Goose Girl. And the fact that it's first is like, yeah. This is a call to self card. I'm going to just tell you outright. I'm not even putting it in like light, shadow, and dark, because for this kind of reading, because this deck radiates for a harder look, I just put it out 3s and 2s and 1s for obstacles and what to know. This is all about theft, the theft of your identity, theft of whom you are, not being true to who you are. The Goose Girl steals the identity of the princess and eventually gets found out. But the whole storyline of how that happens and why that happens is really intense. It's an intense story that if you ever get a chance to read it, you should. If you're not really familiar with the real Grimm fairy tale stories, you really need to go and get a glimpse at them. It is very, very, very tough. It is one that makes it a little bit harder for you to look at Disney tales the same way. Again, especially like the story of Ariel. The original story of Ariel told is not by Brothers Grimm, but the original story tale is not as happy at all. So it's something that you want to look to. So first thing we're looking at is theft of our identity. We need to look at what we're letting seep out identity-wise. We're needing to look at the thought process of who we really are and what we really do. We're also looking and then you have the little match girl. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up with this story. I hated this story for the longest time because of what happens to her. I have always tried to rewrite the story for her. So I hate this story. I despise the story. It is about choice. It is about hope and death. It's about the afterlife. It's about having compassion for somebody who has suffered because of losing her family, who cannot return home without money or she'll be beaten. She is thinking about her grandmother and ends up dying, lighting her matches one by one. The story of Snow White, the story of purity. What are we pure about? What do we believe that is pure? What do we have pure that we're pure of heart over? What do we believe in that we are true about? What are we worthy of that we trust in? What are we good about? What are we kind about? Because remember, kindness is rewarded. We must reject the things that are not appropriate, like Snow White did. Those are the things that are part of your shadow work here, is choosing the things. She chose to be the brave girl. She chose to do what was right, to not turn home, to be beaten, and ended up choosing death over choosing to return to being abused. Chose to find a different way, a different path. Rumpelstiltskin is all about secrets. Good secrets, bad secrets. So ask yourself, what secret do you help hide? Is it a secret worth keeping? Is it a secret not worth keeping? Is it about, are you in an unfair agreement with somebody? Are you being asked to do something that's impossible? Can you find a better solution? That's what this is about. Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Rapunzel's pretty awesome, by the way. It's about liberation. It's about being freed from a place that you've never asked to be entrapped in. It's about your liberation from an escape from heavy thoughts, being cut off from negative, having negative thinking patterns and cutting yourself off from that. Release from your history. It's basically allowing the past to be past and creating yourself a new future. Accepting what was, saying, I don't have to be that way, and creating a new perspective and a new future for yourselves. Yes, it takes time, but you can do it. You have to believe you can do it, and you have to be able to step forward and do it. The Frog Prince. It's about intimacy. It's about truth. One thing about the Frog Prince that I have always enjoyed is the fact of giving of yourself. It is about finding value in all relationships. Why do you keep people at a distance? Getting to the core of that. Considering everyone equally. Intimacy requires discomfort at first. So deal with that fact. If you really want to be with somebody, it's gonna be difficult at first. Tough shit. If you love somebody, you will grow closer with them as time goes on. Share your feelings, your time, your affection. Be open to the fact that if you want a relationship, you have to give to receive. Find friends and people you can trust, just like the Frog Prince did. There are rewards. So that's when you use a darker deck, the ways you can use that for a reading. Like I said, it is one of my favorite decks for it. And like I said, the Chakra Wisdom deck is another deck that I oftentimes use for that purpose, which we're not going to get into. That would be a journey upon itself at this point. So I'm hoping that you found it worthwhile, that the cards, that the decks give you some ideas of what you can work with for yourself, and be able to figure out how to work with your own shadow work. It takes time, it takes effort, it's a step-by-step process. It's finding out each card, working on each card separately once you finally get that first reading done, and working for the benefit of it, accepting it and taking it to heart and moving forward. You can do it. I have faith in you. And remember, just if you have comments or questions, put them down below. I'll be glad to answer them. I may not get them to them right away, but I will get to them. Promise. So, and let me know how you feel about it. Let me know how you feel about the whole aspect of working with your darker sides, your lighter sides, finding a better balance between the two, finding a way to make yourself whole again, in what aspects of shadow work you find difficult. Until next time, Benedithian. See you later.